Hey gang, what's going on? And welcome to another edition of the Square Roundtable, the show where we bring up one specific topic regarding the world of wrestling. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and recommend a topic for a future video. My name is Juan Velez. I am joined as always alongside Mr. Keith Poshik and Ryan McNulty. And the topic at hand for this edition is about pay-per-views. So with the brand split, we're actually getting more pay-per-views. Just in general, overall, Backlash is coming back, that type of stuff. But the topic is more about if the WWE were to bring back an old pay-per-view from the 80s, 90s, whenever, which would it be if they should add any at all? So that is the first question. Should they bring back an old pay-per-view of any kind?
Yes.
Which
I
one?
think they should.
Why?
have two ideas for pay-per-views. So I've long been outspoken about theme pay-per-views such as Hell in a Cell and TLC because that really kind of makes feuds forced into those types of match types when it's better when it comes because a feud deserves it, not because it's October, so we have to do a Hell in a Cell. So my two ideas, one is a theme pay-per-view, but I think it should be kind of redone, and that's bragging rights. Now, maybe a lot of people didn't really like that idea of this whole Raw versus SmackDown, but with the brand split now back, I think it's a great time to do it and make it like the all-star game for WWE. Now, baseball does an all-star game, and the league that wins that, there's actually consequences for the World Series. So my idea would be to have a Raw versus SmackDown pay-per-view, which comes, maybe you do it in December, you replace TLC, right? And the team that wins it, that the Royal Rumble is then to face for that world championship on that brand.
Good idea.
So you make it so your team, if you're on SmackDown, you want to win, so you have a chance to go for the championship on SmackDown. And maybe the Rumble, you can have Raw and SmackDown guys in there, but the winner gets to go for that belt.
That
Something
even adds
like
an interesting thing, like a Raw guy might want to win. If SmackDown wins bragging rights, then a Raw guy might want to win because then he gets to jump over to SmackDown as an
Exactly.
example.
So it adds a whole new dynamic to it. So you really just got to have it be that the brand that wins the most matches that night actually gets some sort of great benefit that makes some sort of consequence happen for Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or something like that. My other, just quickly, idea was, why not bring back something like Cyber Sunday? Now you have all that kind of interactivity with, everyone has a cell phone to vote, the WWE app, WWE Network.
I'm surprised they haven't brought it back.
Yeah, there's so many things you could do with that,
but they kind of did on Raw, and look how that turned out.
They did, because they did it in a crappy way. Because it's always like,
do you trust them not to though? With this, if they brought it back,
if I'm speaking in my ideal WWE world, because we're not going to do Jericho versus John Cena. Is it going to be no holds barred, no DQ, or an Extreme Rules match? No, none of that. Let's have who's going to face for the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship. Like actual consequences that matter.
Kind of like how they did
match
Chris
types.
Jericho, Shelton Benjamin, where Shelton
they
actually won.
did a few Cyber Sunday votes that actually were, who is the opponent, and you just make it varied enough that it's not obvious who's going to win. So that could be something pretty cool.
See, I'm kind of a different mind there, where I don't think they need to bring any of these old pay-per-views back for the new brand split. Like, you have a whole new palette to start from. Why not start everything fresh? Don't go back to, oh, hey, everybody remembers Backlash. Let's bring back Backlash. Everybody remembers all these old pay-per-view names. Let's just bring those back. Start fresh. Start with new things. Like, all of these pay-per-view gimmicks or even names went away for a reason, right? So why not? Why do they need to come back? If I had to choose one, and even then this is a giant if, it would be probably the King of the Ring. I think it's the idea that has the most room to build off of. They've done nothing with it recently, especially with that recent King of the Ring, but it's a great tool for elevating somebody up into the main picture. Like, think about Brock Lesnar and his King of the Ring win. That really made Brock Lesnar. That solidified him as a top guy. But even then, I'm still kind of do they actually really need to bring back the King of the Ring as a pay-per-view? Just start fresh, man. Ideas like this, chances like this don't come very often. Why beat old dead horses, you know?
That's very true. Now, however, to sort of add to that, I would say if you bring back King of the Ring, please don't have the winner actually get the King gimmick. I think we can get over that. Please, it has not worked. I think King Barrett and King Sheamus sort of say, hey, didn't work for me, so learn from your mistakes, WWE. Now, I'm going to do a hybrid answer because, no, I don't think they should bring back theme pay-per-views. I hate the idea of Hell in a Cell. I wonder what match it's going to be. Elimination Chamber, same thing. I loved when the WWE or WWF at the time did the In Your House events because they would always have In Your House, but then some kind of subtitle. So, In Your House, D-Generation X. You know, they had Over the Edge, Fully Loaded. They had Revenge of the Taker, right? So I love that a storyline or something was happening in the WWF to where they required to have it be, when you look back at this, somebody's going to ask, Revenge of the Taker, like the whole pay-per-view was titled around The Undertaker? Man, something something should have happened there, right? Like imagine if, name for an example, Nexus, right? So like Nexus takes over back then. Even if nobody remembered what Nexus was now, you look at the pay-per-view title and you're going to be intrigued because it's like, what did that group do that justified a pay-per-view title? Now, do you think that something like that would work?
Kind of adopted that formula.
Absolutely.
They don't go quite as extensive with the titles. They don't go that specific, but I think they very much kind of adopted that.
And things like that are good. And when talking about old pay-per-views, is there anything else that maybe you think WWE should bring back? You know, we're talking about King of the Ring. So King of the Ring is a tournament, right? That is a whole formula. Do you think there's something to the name itself? Take, for example, Backlash. Backlash to us, it has a sentimental value because you grew up watching that. But maybe for a newer fan, Backlash comes back, but it has nothing. Because if you started watching in 2000, I don't know, like 13, you don't know what that pay-per-view is. It's just a name for you. So is that even worth it?
It's weird because now they've made Payback the new Backlash. This year they finally realized it makes more sense to put Payback after WrestleMania than Extreme Rules, just by namesake alone. Backlash used to be the pay-per-view after WrestleMania and very much made sense because there was a lot of WrestleMania rematches, so consequences of WrestleMania were coming back. Now it's going to be thrown in the fall just kind of randomly and doesn't make any sense at all, and they're really just bringing it back because, you know what, let's be honest, there's only so many names you can name a wrestling pay-per-view. It has to sound cool, and, you know, things like Over the Limit Day and stuff like that, they're already grasping at straws for some of these names, so I can see why they're bringing back old names just because there's no better ones to pick.
But I mean, to go to Juan's point, the takeover approach is very convenient in that because all they really need is a subtitle. Like it could be fancy name for SmackDown pay-per-view subtitle, and that could really be the structure. And it really beats the I have to agree with the point as well of they should get rid of the theme pay-per-views based around a certain match type because at that point the match type loses impact. So to have it feel special, you shouldn't know it's coming. Like, think about that moment at WrestleMania 28, leading up to it, when Triple H was like, I want a Hell in a Cell match, and how impactful that felt. You shouldn't be able to predict, like, oh, okay, it's October, it's going to be the Hell in a Cell match, or it's going to be December, I guess we're going to get a TLC match. That structure should go away. The pay-per-view name should just be like, here's a cool name for the event. It shouldn't actually shape the event itself.
And thank you for bringing up the NXT takeovers because they actually took that In Your House idea. So we've had NXT takeover.
They really did.
The end of the beginning. We had Fatal 4-Way. We had a bunch of those. And once again, Fatal 4-Way. Okay, so I know that the main event is a Fatal 4-Way match, but why? Why did you title that, right? Now, last year, as a closing topic, we started to see all these network exclusive events. So it wasn't a pay-per-view, but we had Roadblock. So it was the Roadblock before WrestleMania that happened this year, actually. So I'm getting my dates wrong there. It happened in March 12th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It took place in the Ricoh Coliseum, according to this article here. And I think that title, it's a little cheesy because it's literally a Roadblock before WrestleMania. But I think
we
that
mercilessly
works.
made fun of it.
Yeah.
It totally does work just because in the way that it's just a name to an event. You're there to watch the event. At the end of the day, the name, does it really matter? Probably not. And I think of the network specials, I like that approach better. Like Beast in the East. It tells you everything you need to know. There is a beast, and he is in the East, and that is why you are going to watch it, to see said beast. Opposed to, Elimination Chamber, that was a network special as well. I think that's an example of them doing it poorly because they're just going back to that themed structure.
Yeah, no, I like things like Roadblock even if the name's a little weird, it makes sense because it doesn't give away any match type or anything. It can be used... it can be used for whatever purpose as long as it's right before WrestleMania, because they always talk about the road to WrestleMania. Well, hey, there's a little roadblock before that, so the name is appropriate.
So I guess to summarize, there's two sides to this question. The first answer is that if you're going to have a theme pay-per-view, have it be based on a storyline, not just have it be so it's Hell in a Cell, so you logically just shoehorn somebody in there. And if it's something take
a drink,
where we're talking about bringing back old pay-per-views or something like that, just have fun with it. So you have your bragging rights. I think that's, out of this conversation, the best possible outcome, because you're not just doing something for that pay-per-view. You're shifting the landscape of the WWE, because then say you have your bragging rights, I don't know, in like November or something. That gives you December for the whole roster reacting.
To be said, that whole idea could happen at Survivor Series too.
It could. It really could.
Yeah. Poor old Survivor Series. Survivor Series was getting left in the dust. I wanted to have it be pretty close to the Rumble just so that impact was felt.
November.
Yeah, I totally just was like, yeah, bragging rights could totally just be Survivor Series.
So whatever. So we got rid of bragging rights. Forget about the last couple of minutes Ryan spoke.
No, it's still
just
there.
Think about the idea.
It's still there. Survivor Series is the red-headed stepchild of the big pay-per-views, so let's keep it that way.
Poor Survivor Series. Hopefully it will scale up. And Ryan, you brought up an idea. That could happen. So if you guys watching think that Ryan's contribution, that possible outcome works, drop a comment with that, or sort of the conversation Keith and I had where it's this personalized approach, or if there's any other possible pay-per-view that you think should come back but we didn't bring up in this Square Roundtable, definitely drop a comment as well as any idea for future Square Roundtables. We have a bunch of them. We talk about great WWE theme songs, great WWE entrances. Check out the podcast, available every single Tuesday night. Now, if you would like some early access, you want this earlier than the access you have right now, the best way to go about it is by pledging at patreon.com/Byte That. You get that early access, which I just talked about 10 seconds ago. You get to have a special behind-the-scenes conversation with us about the different videos that we do. You also get a schedule of what's going to be coming out in the next month. So until next time, thank you for watching, and we will be back with a lot more right here. Where is that, Keith? Where are
Would
we?
it be on Byte That?
Is it, Ryan? Because Keith's face is gone, so I don't know.
believe it is on Byte That.
So there you go. Thanks for watching.